Disrupting the myth how Black women entrepreneurs are silently revolutionizing American business. Good morning, everyone. Today, I stand before you humbled and electrified by the opportunity to share insights that will challenge everything you think you know about entrepreneurship in America. These revelations come from my recent deep dive with Jami Mahon, a visionary researcher and advocate whose groundbreaking work has not only documented but actively championed the extraordinary rise of Black women entrepreneurs across our nation. Jamie isn't just collecting data, she's capturing a revolution. Through her meticulous research and passionate advocacy, she's illuminating pathways that are transforming not just individual businesses, but entire economic ecosystems. Her work stands as a testament to what's possible when we look beyond conventional narratives and see the true engines of change in our economy. When we talk about entrepreneurship in America, particularly among Black women, there's a story we've been told repeatedly. It's a narrative of struggle, of insurmountable barriers, of having to work twice as hard for half as much. It's a story that, while acknowledging real challenges, has become so familiar that it obscures something profound happening right before our eyes. Here's a truth that Jamie's research has revealed, a truth that should shake the foundations of how we understand business in America. Black women aren't just participating in entrepreneurship, they are leading a powerful, silent revolution in business ownership and growth that is reshaping the very landscape of American commerce. The numbers are staggering and they tell a story few are talking about. Black women owned businesses have experienced an average revenue increase of 32.7%, dramatically outpacing the overall market. Even more remarkable, they represent 89% of net new women owned firms being created daily. Let that sink in for a moment. The very demographic that has historically faced the most significant barriers in business is now driving the most substantial growth. This isn't just beating the odds, it's completely rewriting the rules of the game. As Jamie eloquently stated during our conversation, what we're witnessing isn't just individual achievement. These entrepreneurs are building ecosystems that foster collective advancement for future generations. This revelation forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about entrepreneurship, success, and how transformative change actually happens in business. It challenges the very foundation of our understanding about power and progress in America. During my conversation with Jamie, three critical insights emerged that I believe can reshape how we understand this phenomenon. First, Black women aren't just participating in entrepreneurship, they're driving record breaking business growth and reshaping the landscape for all women leaders. The impact extends far beyond individual success stories to fundamentally alter how business is conducted. Second, despite their remarkable progress, Black female founders still face significant barriers in funding and support compared to their counterparts. This makes community driven solutions essential for sustained success, a model that might benefit all entrepreneurs. And third, perhaps most importantly, systemic change, such as building mentorship networks and advocating for equitable access to capital, is proving more impactful than individual achievement alone when it comes to empowering Black professionals and entrepreneurs. Let me take you to New Orleans, a city that embodies resilience and renewal. At the Women's Business Enterprise National Council Conference in 2025, Black women led firms were highlighted for their outsized impact on entrepreneurship. The challenges they faced were substantial: persistent funding gaps, only 45% loan approval rates compared to men's 55%, higher denial rates, and systemic biases in lending environments. But here's where the story takes a remarkable turn. Instead of accepting these barriers as insurmountable, these entrepreneurs created something revolutionary. They built robust peer networks from scratch. They established targeted mentorship programs designed specifically for their unique challenges. They engaged in collective advocacy that amplified their voices far beyond what any individual could achieve. The results were nothing short of transformative. Average revenues increased by that impressive 32.7% I mentioned earlier. Employment within these businesses soared by over 250% between 2019 and 2023. They outpaced men owned business growth by nearly double and established new pipelines for capital access and leadership development. What's particularly noteworthy is how these entrepreneurs leverage adversity into opportunity through collaboration. From being underrepresented pre pandemic to becoming drivers of economic recovery post COVID, they set a precedent nationally on how targeted support can accelerate minority women entrepreneurship ecosystems. This isn't just beating the odds, it's changing the game entirely. Now, let's look at another powerful example that emerged from Jami's research. Examining gender and race gaps on the startup path, data from the National Bureau of Economic Research revealed daunting challenges. Blacks start new businesses at a rate 22% lower than whites. Less than 10% of all entrepreneurs are Black. The failure rate among Black owned firms is nearly one fifth higher than white counterparts, due largely to limited access to venture capital and angel investment networks. Yet, even here, we see remarkable resilience and innovation. Female founded VC backed startups achieved a higher exit rate, 19.4%, compared with male peers, even with fewer resources. This demonstrates extraordinary resilience when given even the smallest opportunities. The solutions emerging include focused efforts on increasing representation among venture capital general partners. Currently, only about 4% are Black, and the formation of affinity investment groups targeting underrepresented founders. What's particularly striking about this example is how it reveals the necessity of ecosystem level interventions, not just individual grit, in closing entrepreneurial opportunity divides. As Jami emphasized, the gradual narrowing of gender and race gaps over recent years is due primarily to grassroots organizing within professional communities rather than top down policy changes alone. This challenges the American myth of the solo entrepreneur succeeding through sheer determination. The reality is that sustainable success requires community infrastructure and systemic change, a lesson that applies to entrepreneurs of all backgrounds. Expanding our view globally, Jamie's research showed rising startup activity rates among women worldwide, with US based Black female founders leading much of this surge. Despite increased participation rates, persistent underfunding remains acute. Globally, female led ventures consistently attract less venture capital funding, despite equal or better performance metrics. But here again, we see innovation in response to challenge. International peer mentoring alliances, digital accelerator programs tailored specifically toward minority women innovators, and cross border pitch competitions have helped bridge knowledge and capital gaps recently identified across continents. The outcomes have been significant increases in both startup formation and sustainable exits, driven by collaborative learning models rather than traditional hierarchical structures. Women now own 35% of U.S. employer firms, controlling $3.9 trillion in revenue, with much momentum coming directly from communities historically left behind. As Jamie noted, overcoming generations of exclusion required reimagining what support systems to look like, from local incubators all the way up to global investor coalitions. These advances ripple outward, inspiring other marginalized groups while also normalizing intersectional leadership styles worldwide. This isn't just changing business, it's changing how we understand leadership itself. What these examples reveal is something profound about how transformation actually happens. The traditional narrative suggests that individual achievement leads to systemic change. But what Jamie's research shows is that the opposite is often true. Systemic change building networks, creating new funding pathways, establishing mentorship programs, enables individual achievement on a scale that wouldn't otherwise be possible. This insight has implications far beyond entrepreneurship. It challenges us to reconsider how we approach other persistent social and economic disparities. Perhaps the focus on individual grit and determination, while important, has obscured the more fundamental need for structural change in community infrastructure. For Black women who have spent years in survival mode, leading teams, raising families, holding down households, carrying communities, this new approach to entrepreneurship offers a path that doesn't require superhuman effort or sacrifice. Instead, it suggests that by building supportive ecosystems, by advocating for structural change, by creating communities of mutual support, we can achieve more while caring less individually. This isn't just smart business, it's a more sustainable, more humane way to create change. As Jamie powerfully stated, the most successful entrepreneurs I've studied aren't just building businesses, they're building bridges. They're creating pathways not just for themselves, but for everyone coming behind them. So today, I stand before you with a challenge, a call to action that goes beyond mere inspiration. What if the most radical act we could perform in business isn't disruption for its own sake, but connection with purpose? What if the true innovation isn't a new product, but a new pathway? I challenge you to examine your own sphere of influence. Where are you positioned to remove barriers for talented but under resourced leaders? How might you redirect capital, attention, or opportunity toward those who have demonstrated extraordinary returns despite systematic exclusion? This isn't charity, it's smart business. It's recognizing where the real growth is happening in our economy and aligning yourself with it. For investors in the room, what would your portfolio look like if it reflected the growth rates we discussed today rather than traditional patterns of funding? For corporate leaders, how might your talent development, procurement, and partnership strategies change if they were aligned with these emerging powerhouses of growth? And for policymakers, what would it mean to design systems that amplify rather than impede this remarkable engine of economic transformation? The evidence is clear. The most significant untapped opportunity in American business isn't a technology or a market. It's the systematic underestimation of Black women entrepreneurs. Those who recognize this reality first will have first mover advantage in the economy of tomorrow. As we close today, remember this: Revolutions rarely announce themselves with fanfare. They happen quietly, steadily, until one day we look up and realize the world has changed. Thanks to Jamie Mahon's groundbreaking research, we now have the privilege of seeing this revolution while it's still unfolding and the opportunity to be part of accelerating it. The question is not whether this transformation will continue. The question is whether you will be part of it. Thank you.